How's it going, buddy?
I needed to ask you about something super important. You know how like the Discord is very active right now? Like we're playing lots of games together during the week.
I can't keep up with you guys.
We've been playing
So much activity.
like a lot. We're in there with Marvel Rivals playing, having a great time. So we jump in and everybody was talking about areolas.
Oh.
Megadads Live is a mature rated podcast. It's for the Mega Dads, the Mega Moms, but not the Mega Kids. So put on those earmuffs and let's go!
We were like, I don't know how it came up initially. We were talking about how areola, like I haven't heard that word in quite a long time.
Yeah.
Like,
Him.
when do you talk about it? So I think that now is a really good time.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
About the size and I was like, what size areola do you prefer? And I start to Google things in between our matches.
Mm-hmm.
So don't.
Oh, what?
Be very careful about Googling something so risque because Google's sick. Like they think right away you're trying to do. I was looking for medical knowledge on areolas. Like, is it like a fingerprint? Do we each have very unique areolas? And how big are they supposed to be? What's the average size? Like medical shit. I wasn't trying to get weird. You know what I mean?
I mean, you're already weird. You're there.
I was telling we were telling stories about like I was like, oh yeah, when you go to the deli and they have not the regular size pepperoni, but they have the big hunk pepperoni hanging, and they're this is deli pepperoni where it's overgrown. They're getting it from the source. And then they're chopping it up, and you get the slices, and they're gibungous, half the size of your head.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how you go to the grocery store, and then you just get oh, okay, you buy some sausage, and it's kind of normal. It's prepackaged, and it's it's
Standard.
Normal size, like a roll. So I was just talking about that. I was just talking about deli sized and supermarket sized,
So are you deli or supermarket then?
Well, that's what I'm Googling, right? I'm like, am I a freak? What's going on? Somebody in the chat was talking about how oh, I don't have hair on my chest, but I got hairy areolas.
Yeah, for sure. That's the thing.
So I have a single hair, that's I think something's wrong with it. It's like a mutated, almost like a Hulk, ending, and it goes way too hard. It goes overgrown, right? And it's very long. So I have to maintain this one hair all the time. I literally every other day it's grown like a weed, and I have to snip it. And I never thought about it until this conversation came up. And I'm like, I think I'm a freak. I think I have.
Hair really is God's cruelest joke in every sense, especially with me. I don't have enough up here. I can't grow a full beard to save my life. You got hair surrounding the nipple, but that's about the places on my body where there are hair versus the places on my body where I would like hair. It's just. It's somebody's sick joke. I'm paying for something. I'm paying. The universe is poking fun at me because I just want balance in the places where I'm hairy. I think the human body is just a disgusting thing. There's just no way to be right.
So I Googled interesting facts about areolas.
Okay.
And it's areolas come in a wide range of sizes, shapes. They could be circular or elliptical, and colors ranging from pale pink to deep brown.
Yeah,
they have Montgomery glands, small bumps on the areola, which are succubus glands that secrete an oily substance to keep the nipple and areola moisturized. This aids in breastfeeding. Okay, so I think that's enough. But basically, areolas exist, and remember areolas. You haven't heard about it. And now we're talking.
National Areola Day. I think we're making that's a thing.
This program is powered by Megadad's Boost, our public support program. You can join at patreon.com/Megadads. For over 10 years, Megadads has been bringing you the best in podcasts, reviews, interviews, family fun, and so much more. As an independent media organization, we rely on audience members like you to help support what we do, to ensure that Megadads can continue to bring you the great content that you enjoy. If you've been watching, listening, or playing along through the years, please consider lending your support by becoming a member of Megadads Boost. Memberships start for as little as $1 a month, and you can start collecting your Boost rewards from day one. Rewards like art cards, early access podcasts, reviews, gameplay clips, and so much more. Please visit patreon.com/Megadads and become a member today. You can help us continue to make more of that Megadads coverage you've loved over the last 10 years well into the future by becoming a member of Megadads Boost.
That's going to lead us to the next segment of the show that I like to call Parent of the Month. Yes. This is where we round up great parenting stories from the internet. Usually it's about folks who do an absolute abhorrent job parenting, and we like to make fun of them. But I've got this one. I got this guy's back, right? Okay. So we're gonna have a discussion about this parental story. A new mom and dad. This, by the way, this comes from Newsweek. This story. Got to cite my sources. We're a very professional organization here. A new mom and dad have been backed for rejecting a long-held family tradition when it comes to naming their newborn son. A new dad explained how he recently welcomed his first child, which he named Hollis, into the world back in June. Unfortunately, his parents were disappointed when they learned Hollis's name, as they are very traditional when it comes to naming the kids. We were each named after our grandparents, and that's how they feel everyone should name their kids, this dad said. They expected our son to either be a Jack or a Parker, but since Hollis arrived, he said his mom has been quizzing him on his decision to break tradition, accusing him of picking a quote-unquote stupid name that she hated. The man said he became angry, telling his mom to shut up in a move that left her furious. In addition to me just giving this guy mad props for sticking up to his mom, who's just a straight up bitch from the sounds of it, I have to reiterate like how fucked up this Newsweek article is. I took another chunk here that I'm going to read, which further lets me know that this guy is a baller when it comes to naming his kid. So the Newsweek article says, when it comes to baby names, a parent's choice of moniker for their pride and joy may hold more significance than some might initially assume. A study published in the academic journal Education, Finance, and Policy identified that a potential correlation can be found between boys with more gender-neutral names and increased behavioral problems at school, as well as lower scores on academic tests. Fuck that. Sorry, I usually get your opinion first, but fuck that. This Newsweek article is trying to say that people can have behavioral problems and be dumber at school if they have a more gender-neutral name. I think this guy, name your damn kid whatever you want to name it. Hollis isn't even that ridiculous a name. I've certainly seen weirder names than Hollis. What are your thoughts on naming your children, traditions, what other people's opinions of your kids' names are? Like, how do you feel about this?
So naming is so sensitive, and people don't understand it because like people think that they could tell you that your baby name sucks, like when you tell them, and that's such bullshit. Like there's a whole subreddit about like unhinged reactions to when you tell people what you're gonna name your child, and they'll like get in, like they'll be upset about it. I'm like, dude, like you get to do what you want to do, like,
and it doesn't mean anything.
It's so weird. It's like, oh, I can be pissed at you for you. I'm like, this is what I get to do. I made it. You know, I made the kid. Legally, I get to put whatever on the line. So do what you want to do. Yeah. It does matter. Like there is some science about like you have a real nuts name, and that's on the, like, you know, if that is on the resume, it can't, like, they do studies, like, it can affect things. But I mean, how often are people really doing the crazy, like, out of the box names? Like,
Right.
there's a, I was just looking it up. There's this guy who's like, oh, my mother was an asshole, and she gave in to my grandmother and named me Lark, Lark. So it's like he's kind of pissed, you know, 40 years later about it. His name is Lark, and it's like somebody named their kid Wolverine after the X-Men, not Logan.
Yeah.
Wolverine. So it's like, are you gonna be okay with that as a kid? Like, Adam, right now your name is Jehoshaphat. Like,
Right.
You're okay with that, or what?
I think there's certainly a line, right? Like if you name your
Jehoshaphat.
right. If you name your kid Shit Bucket, like that's gonna look bad. That's gonna look bad on a resume, of course, right? But like, I think in this circumstance, and I think in most circumstances, the name, it's not going to have that big of effect. It's all about the projection and how you feel about yourself. If you're judging somebody because their name is Hollis, like superficially, like that's more a reflection on you than it is on this person or their name. But again, like, yeah, Wolverine, that's, you know, that's a little weird. And there's legal ways to change it. Like if
you could change it.
If you're a 40-year-old man and you're still named Wolverine and you've got issues with that, dude, fucking go and change it. Like that's perfectly acceptable.
Right.
Hollis,
right, here's another one. Another one. The girl's name is Jagoda, which means blueberry in Polish.
Jagoda. Well, okay. And then again, is this a cultural thing, right? Like if this person comes to me and, you know, they've got a heavy Polish accent and their name is, hello, my name is Jagoda. Like, I'm not going to make fun of this person. What the fuck do I know?
I named my son Braddock because I watched a dog show. I thought the dog was cute and the dog's name was Braddock. So
okay, that's stupid.
Then they named their son. I was named after the cartoon character Jessica because of Jessica Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I was named because my dad liked the character with the big boobs.
That's okay. That's problematic. That's obviously there's going to be extremes one way or the other. But there's no malice to this guy's story. The fact that his mom told him that her grandchild has a stupid name, like that's just wrong, right?
You can't say that. Yeah, you
how
can't.
How did you name Lily? Like,
so,
did you guys have a battle about what to name her?
Yeah, like, you know, people wanted a more like a Hispanic name, but we were like, we want something that's cool, that's fun, that's so we had like a laundry list of names, nailed it down to like 5, nailed it down to like 3, and we still have some reserved. Like if we ever have other kids, we're like, oh, we'd like this. But a lot of times, and this is weird, like you have to leave it open though for change, because sometimes you could have a name picked where it's like it's not changing, you're gonna be Brad or whatever. But then when you see the kid and you spend that first couple, you know, that day or the first couple hours, a lot of people call an audible. A lot of people have like 3, and then and that's kind of where we were. We were like kind of like 90%. But we had like 2 backups. We're like, okay, well, we look at her and she looks more like an Emily. She'll be an Emily. But the big problem now is going to be if I have a son, because like I'm Junior. So I'm Antonio Jr. and my dad's Antonio. So I was like, if I ever have a son, I just figured that it would be like the 3rd, because I don't know. I just thought that, I used to think that was cool, but it's so fucked up with taxes and social security numbers and like legally, because we get mixed up all the time. And it's like, wait a second, are you Junior? Like I've had like issues in my life from paperwork.
Really?
All my life. Yeah. So be careful if you go like Junior and the 3rd and stuff like that. It just gets kind of clunky. So I've now am open to things like Wolverine and stuff like that. Like now I want to go more fun and get more adventurous. Like my mom's named after a character on the Mickey Mouse Club. There was like this show where these kids would go out and dance and stuff. And like her sisters are all Z names: Sadie, Serena, Sandra, Z, and then she came and they're like Doreen. And they just like mixed it up just for her.
That's awesome.
It's kind of weird. So how did you name your kids?
So Elliot was like our we each had a favorite that neither of us liked, and so we went to the fallback. So Elliot was like the second one, right?
You settled.
We had to compromise because it was like, I really don't like your pick and you really don't like mine. So we both really liked Elliot as a standby. So that's how that happened. With Nora, I was hardcore. I wanted Nora to be named Penny.
Oh, that's cool.
Penelope. And I was like dead set on it, and I was fighting for it until it dawned on me that my last name is Leonard. And in the Big Bang Theory, there is a character named Penny, and there's a character named Leonard.
Oh yeah,
and they end up together. And once I realized that Penny Leonard, like at the time, that was a very popular show, right?
Right.
And so if we named our kid Penny Leonard, people would assume that it was off of this show, and it was like an ode to the show. And once that dawned on me, it was like, oh shit, that's never going to happen. I would not be able to get that out of my brain. So that's how we settled on Nora. So both of my kids are not like the first choice names, but you know, that kind of thing fades after 10 years, right? They just become who they are. The other choice was Voltron, but you know, Nora sounds better.
The place to be for Megadads socials is the Megadads Discord, where you can engage with your favorite Megadads as well as other friends of the Megadads every single day in our stress-free and welcoming social space. When you're a member of our Discord, you will get alerts for all of our content drops, so you never have to miss a review, a podcast, or a hot take. Partake in our fun weekly Megadads holidays like Waluigi Wednesday and Final Fantasy Sunday. Megadads Discord is fun, free, and follows you wherever you go. Join us today and become part of the conversation.
That brings me to the game that I want to talk about. I am a dude. You know, I love my classic games. I love my retro games.
Yes.
And so I have a game that I want to talk about called Pac-Man World Re-Pac. This is a remaster of an old PS1 era game from Namco called Pac-Man World. Back in the day when everything was a 3D mascot platformer, you had your Gexes, you had your Crocs, you had your Crash Bandicoots, and then this game came out, and it was a Pac-Man 3D platforming game a la Mario 64. Now, the thing about this game is I never played it on the PS1. I never played this game back in the day, but they recently added it to PlayStation Plus. It was one of the free games of the month. And when they announced this game, I was like, oh, that looks like the kind of game that I would have loved back in the day, but I would not give any money to right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll play it for free. I'll play it as part of my membership. And I have been playing the ever-loving shit out of Pac-Man World Re-Pac. It's the most bizarre little remaster. I don't know why anybody decided to repackage this game with better graphics and quality of life improvements, but Bandai Namco did. They said, we're bringing Pac-Man back. I think it might have something to do with this is the 45th anniversary of Pac-Man this year, which it dawned on me that I'm as old as Pac-Man, which makes me feel ancient. Let me tell you that I am exactly as old as Pac-Man. I feel like I'm 900 years old because of that fact. So Pac-Man World Re-Pac comes along, and this game is exactly what I just described. It is a mid to late 90s era 3D platformer with a mascot where you're running around in a semi 3D world, collecting little icons, collecting the letters to spell out Pac-Man every level, kind of like what they did with Tony Hawk back in the day. But the thing that's cool about this game, other than the fact that it is just like pure nostalgia injected into my bloodstream, it feels exactly like that old game, blemishes and all, which I love, right? Like the only thing that's new about this is the polish. Everything else, feels like this fucker came out in 1995, which I love. But the other thing that's really cool and unique about this game is the way that it injects classic Pac-Man into the formula. Every level plays like a 3D platformer. You're running, you're jumping and bopping on enemies' heads. Like I said, you're looking for secret collectibles. But then, like, each level will have like a power pellet that comes out of nowhere, and you chomp on it and you become Super Pac-Man, which is like an oversized version of classic Pac-Man. No arms, no legs. You're just chomp, chomp, chomp. And you're going around, and the ghosts, they turn blue and you're able to chomp them and everything. But there's also hidden mazes in every level. So there's like bonus stages in each platforming level that are just like classic style Pac-Man levels. It's a top-down view of a themed Pac-Man world. So like if you're in the space world, right? It's a space themed Pac-Man maze. If you're in the pirate level, it's a pirate themed Pac-Man maze. And each level of this game has a hidden maze where you're suddenly playing like very classic style Pac-Man. And so it infuses old school Pac-Man into like a 3D mascot platformer in a way that just, it makes it feel different enough where I'm not just playing another 3D mascot game out of the 90s. So I was impressed with the charm and the way that they're able to take the property of Pac-Man and infuse it into this 3D platformer. And it also has really interesting gameplay mix-ups. There's one level where you're all of a sudden you're playing like Pac-Man's in a spaceship and you're doing a Galaga style space shooter where it's like bullet hell. There's enemies flying all over the place. There's lasers shooting that you gotta zoom in and out of. There's interesting enough gameplay shakeups that make this brief 3D platform experience fresh. Even though it's old, it feels fresh and feels different and not like all the other 3D mascot games that came before it. So I'm kind of playing this game and feeling like I would have loved the shit out of this back in the 90s. Like this is the game that if I had played it back then, it would have been like my secret PS1 love, right? It would have been like Klonoa, a game that I remember so fondly that not a lot of people had played and heard of. So if you are a PlayStation Plus owner, this game is available as part of your membership. And I encourage you, if you love that nostalgic gameplay, if you love, busting out your old PS1 controller and playing the classics like I do, give this a shot. It's not going to blow your mind, and it's certainly not got modern gameplay, but it is a very fun and serviceable 3D mascot platformer with injections of classic Pac-Man that you might really enjoy for Pac-Man's 45th anniversary. Antonio, how do you feel about Pac-Man?
So I didn't realize that this version of Pac-Man, where you're the ball and you have like arms and legs, it's the same version that is in Super Smash Brothers, where they came out with the Pac-Man characters. So I thought his moveset, where he like does his super jump and he is throwing the packs at people and he has all of his moveset, comes directly from this game. So as I'm watching the video, I'm like, oh, this is where they got his attacks from and his build from. So I didn't know that the Pac-Man world existed. I just wasn't on my radar.
Yeah,
so I'm like, oh, this is where they pulled it. So you can see all of his moveset that's in Smash Brothers, which I'm very familiar with, in this game. So very interesting. I mean, this is the type of stuff that you don't get away with anymore. You know, like it's like you said, the mascot platformer, and it's sitting at very positive reviews on Steam, and people seem to think it's solid. So
it is. It's really good. And there's some sort of weird resurgence with these 3D mascot platformers. They're remastering the Gex trilogy, I hear.
Oh my God. Gex is back. Okay.
Gex is back. They've got Yooka-Laylee, which apparently they're remastering the original Yooka-Laylee, which I didn't think was that old, but apparently that game's like 10 years old.
Oh my God, we're old, Adam. Yooka-Laylee is getting
Yooka-Laylee's getting goddamn remaster.
They're gonna remaster Astro Bot in like 6 months.
Yeah, I know. Like I love I love the nostalgia of stuff like this. I wish that they would remaster more games like this in the way that they leave the gameplay exactly how it was, and they just clean it up a little bit and give it to you with a fresh coat of paint. I'm having a lot of fun with this. It's a very easy pick up and play. You know, I come home from work. I'm like, I'm just going to do a couple of levels of Pac-Man World. And I sit down, it takes me like, 10 minutes, and then I'm good. And then I move on to something a little bit meatier. But this is a feel-good game for me for sure. Pac-Man World Re-Pac. I think it's available, like you said, on a lot of other platforms, but it is on PlayStation Plus as part of their catalog. And that's how I experienced it at no additional cost. And I'm glad I did. It took a little trip down memory lane. Is the caboose, which means it's the end of this episode of Mega Dad's Live, where we give you a recommendation of something outside the world of video games that we think you should try. And for me, I want to talk about mental timeouts. I've had a rough couple of weeks at work, and I've felt like I've had no time at all. I go to work, I stress out for 10 hours, I come home, I stress out for a few hours, I go to sleep, I get up and I do it all over again. For me, my mental timeouts are my walks, my lunchtime walks at work. Whether I'm super busy or not, I clock out, I get out the door, I get into the sunshine, I get that sunshine therapy, I put some podcasts in my ears, and I got 40 minutes of time just for me where I can walk, get a little bit of exercise, get a little bit of a mental recharge, and then I hit back at the day for the rest of the time. As adults, these moments can be very fleeting. It might be your commute, right? It might be your time in the car where you don't have to deal with anybody. You have to find pockets of time that are uninterrupted, that nobody can impede on, and really find that recharge. And for me, that's my walks. And as the weather gets warmer, I have more opportunity to do things like this. So I highly recommend that people just make that time for yourself where you can time out from your day, just step back, forget about everything, push it all aside, force it out. You got to make it happen and recharge your batteries.
Absolutely. My caboose is the world of sim racing. Okay. So there are gamers, there are racing games, but once you cross the line into sim racing, you're in another world. So I have my new, I have my MetaQuest headset. So I got the Quest 3 and I'm messing with it. And of course, one of the most impressive things that you can do with this is sim racing, because when you do a simulated cockpit, a lot of people can put a monitor in front of them or TV. And then if you go really advanced, you try to do 3 screens. So you're kind of getting the peripheral vision covered with the side of the vehicle. But now with VR technology, you put the headset on and now you're in the cockpit of the vehicles that you're driving in a whole new perspective, and it adds to the realism. And usually you'd want to pair this with like a force feedback wheel. So I got a used force feedback wheel.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, like it was like refurbished. So I was like, let me see how crazy this is. So I have a wheel and the headset, and I played Automobilista 2. And I started getting into this like rabbit hole of, what does it mean to actually play a driving game the way you're supposed to? Like paying attention to tire grip, apex of turns, like how to balance the weight distribution of the car when you're driving. And I've gone down this rabbit hole and I've barely started, but it's very interesting. It's a whole new subset of gaming, a whole new world, and it works really well. Like this force feedback wheel, when you're in the headset, I tried 2 different cars so far, and one of them was like a super fast rocket powered car. So you tap the accelerator and you're like zooming. And then another one was more like an old school, like stock car. And it felt completely different to drive with the wheel. And you have all these tracks and you're in this part of the world or that, and they all look very unique. And it's fun. It's like, there's something about like Mario Kart, for instance, right? And there's something about that experience of the track and it being fun that exists in sim racing in a whole different level about like, oh, like it feels really cool to take this turn and you're like in the apex and you feel all of this this momentum. So it's a brave new world that I'm just diving into. I'm sure I'll talk about it more on a future episode of Megadad's Live, but I'm just dipping my toe into sim racing.
I remember, I think it was either Gran Turismo or the latest Forza, where I was watching a video on it and they were talking about the track temperature. And there's like, oh yeah, if the track is shaded, like if there's shade here, that part of the pavement is going to react to your tires differently than when like the sun hits at a different angle and then the light hit. I'm just like, are you what?
It all matters to sim racers.
It all matters.
To them.
Crazy.
Yeah, and if you Google enough, you'll find these people who are either people who started in gaming, like sim racing, and then they go to like these leagues that they have in real race cars, and they go and race after they've trained on sim, and they do well. Like they made a movie about, you know, the Gran Turismo guy. It was a kid, and he was playing sim, and they opened up, then said, "Hey, can we get a sim racer who's playing Gran Turismo into a real race car?" And they made a movie about it. I actually watched it on a plane randomly, and it was decent, but the world like melts. So they have these racers who can't be on the track all the time. They'll get the most advanced sim racing like equipment, and they'll have them like train on there, you know, because you always want to be training type of thing. So it's very interesting. Yeah, they have a lot of intricacies in sim racing in that world.
You're going to be a gearhead pretty soon before you know it.
I don't know if I'll be good at it. It's just fun right now.
It's just fun right now. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Megadads Live. Thank you so much for watching here on youtube.com/Megadads or listening on our podcast feed. Make sure you're liking all the things, subscribing to all the things, and joining us on our Megadads Discord. The link, of course, is in the show notes. We will see you next week when we're going to be talking all about the Switch 2 Direct. So excited. Lots to talk about. All right. We'll see you next week on an all-new episode of Megadads Live.